serving you a dose of wisdom and humor with a dash of radiance. Welcome to Biscuits and Sunshine with your hosts, Callie and Landra.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Callie.
And I'm Landra. It makes me hella happy to have you here with us. We're recording this from Distant Sport Audio Studio in Athens, Greece. Welcome to episode 10, Veka. Pame, let's go.
Wow, 10 episodes. I'm incredibly proud of us. I'm not so much shocked that we've been able to do it because I think together we could do anything. But when I think about the fact that we both had this idea and neither one of us were able to make any progress alone, I'm really grateful and maybe a little surprised that we've been able to stick to it and create 10 full episodes. Talk about a big dream and making it happen.
Interesting you should say that, Callie, because we're going to talk about goal setting and dreaming big on today's podcast.
Oh, I do declare. I had no idea. Darling, tell me more.
Seriously, though, I am proud of us. I know we both said it's easier for us to make things happen when we do it in partnership. And I could not be more grateful for being on this journey with you.
Oh, the feeling's 100,000% mutual.
Aw. I'm also excited to be leading our listeners through a bit of a goal-setting workshop today. If that sounds interesting to you, you'll definitely want to bookmark this episode and revisit it when you're able to take your time and work through some of the prompts and exercises at your own pace.
This goal-setting, dreaming big topic is something that's continually come up when we've brainstormed themes for podcasts. And as a friend, I want to brag just a tiny bit. Landra is leading a 4-part mindfulness class here in Athens. And I had the chance to go to the class last week. It was such an experience that I needed that I didn't know I needed. I had no expectation. I was just really going to support her. And it was such an impactful experience. Generally, when I go to these types of things and people say things, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. But with Landra, I totally trust her. So I was fully into everything she said. And it was such an experience of release for me. It was a great exercise in thinking through what needed to be let go of. So I promise you the exercise and the things that she's going to say today are things that you guys will want to remember. So I think absolutely, let's not waste time. Let's go.
Oh, thank you, Callie. It was so special to have you there in class. And yeah, I mean, this is like the work I love doing and speaking about and doing for myself personally. Before we jump into actual goal setting, I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk about what our relationship has been to setting goals. I'll start. When I was younger, I was such a dreamer. I always was like having ideas and thoughts and visions. And when I would just get lost in movies and just make up things and about how I wanted to be when I was older. And as I got older and, developing, I realized how much I would set these goals in my mind or these visions, and I wouldn't share them with anybody. And I think that it was from a place of not wanting anybody to judge them or to tell me that that's not possible or how would you do that? Or maybe fear of failure, saying I'm going to do something and then I don't do it, right? And as years have gone on, then I started, sharing them with people. And then it was more of people that I felt safe with, that I know had my best interests at heart. And when I did that, some magic started happening. Then other people started sharing their goals. And it was really a little bit more of this support. And I will say the goals back then were a little bit more, probably like a checklist and things that felt a little bit like safe. I probably would have done anyway. But it was just something about sharing them with other people. And that really got me into like forward momentum of actually taking steps and actions to get stuff done. So how about you, Callie? If you think about goal setting, what's been your relationship to that?
Growing up, my dad always would say, dreams are goals with deadlines. So I sort of lived in this household where anything was possible. And if you wanted something bad enough, just put a plan in place. Give it a deadline. Give yourself a goal to reach. And I think that really sort of gave me a springboard for support when I think of dreaming big and setting goals. Not that I do the goal setting very well, but the dreaming big thing I have in spades.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we kind of share that, it seems like.
Absolutely.
So before we jump into goals, and I'll probably say this a few times, because there's like really some scaffolding that needs to take place to really then support the place of goals. The first is getting clear on your values. So that is really understanding what it is that really you value most. What is the essence of you? If folks were to describe you, what would be those words that they would use? And how you use your values really are guiding principles and inspiration for you. And I would say ideally you want to pick between 3 to 5 words. And they're going to be words that really resonate for you. So as you're going through this journey of picking the words, you might want to say it out loud. If, again, going back to that supportive group of folks that you like to let into your world, sharing with them and get their feedback of does it resonate? What does that mean to you? And I would say it's kind of a journey over time. For me, I've had pretty good steadfast values. There's been 5 of them that have been with me for quite some time. And I'll share them with you. They are love, adventure, creativity, compassion, and community. So I really feel like they stretch the span of all of my life, of who I am today and who I want to continue to be in this lifetime. And I want to, share with you, Kelly, or ask you, because we've talked about this, what, the value process, what have you found that is really core values to you?
When we were practicing this episode, you said yours. I thought, yep, me too. All those. Thank you. Very easy for me. But I do think it's probably why we are such good friends, because our values are so similar.
Yeah.
I would definitely say love, creativity, hands down. And something about, as I thought through what are my values personally, in some ways it might be easier for me to articulate my values because I'm so aware of the values I look for in other people. Top of mind for me, like a romantic partnership, I want someone who's conscientious because I know that I'm conscientious. And I use this word very specifically because I think it goes deeper than kindness or deeper than thoughtfulness. It's someone who can see a situation and recognize that in this exchange, this other person has been very vulnerable. I see the emotion and I see the opportunity that you're taking to be authentic and real. And so I can respond in kind. This idea of being very conscientious is something that's important to me. I try to do that with all of my relationships. And so I would like it mirrored back to me.
Yeah, I love that, Kelly, because, it's a word that it sounds like holds a lot of different meanings and energies for you. And it's a word that I could already tell just by looking at you that you're really like lit up by. So it is interesting to kind of play with different words and to find the right one, because one that at first I had for a while was passion. And that is still really true for me, but where I was able to find passion, it lives somewhere within love and also in adventure. And so you're able to find kind of those feelings in different words.
And I think it's a good thing to say that as you settle into yourself, your values may change. Kindness used to be a value of mine, or this idea of being kind. But the older I've gotten, the less I find that encapsulates everything that I want it to mean. So I was adding in different words to sort of make up for the things that I felt like were missing. And so for me, conscientious is a new value, but it's something that I feel like really sort of wraps everything up really nicely.
Yeah, the way you describe it, it's almost like kindness, like expanded. It became so much more than just kindness.
Yeah, it's like a version 2.0.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, you're right. So it's as we grow, like things will definitely grow with us, hopefully. Okay, so you have your values, again, using them as guiding principles. Give yourself some time. Like I said, write down the words, say the words out loud, speak with other people. If you're at a block, talk with friends and ask them, how would you describe me? When you think of me, what words come to mind? So that can be kind of a fun little exercise there. And then you start to see what are the words that come up more and more often. And that just might kind of help you find, get you to your values.
It's also a great check because if you think you are X, Y, or Z, and no one shares these thoughts with you, maybe it is a test in authentic living as well, since it's something that we talk about a lot on the show. Are you embodying the things, or are you putting out there the things that you think you are?
Yeah.
Because that close group of friends, hopefully, will be very honest with you.
Yeah. And I could also think the opposite can be true. I know in times when I have asked other people for feedback, surprisingly, it was, dare I say, hard. It was like, I was surprised at how much emotion I had about hearing good things about myself. So it was a little bit of lesson in vulnerability, of like receiving good feedback from other people. So that was really interesting. So I'm glad you said that. It just really brought that up for me.
I think that's a big lesson as women, that we
Yeah.
need to constantly sort of remind ourselves of.
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
to take a compliment. Wow, you look really beautiful today. I love that dress. Thanks, it has pockets. No, just thank you.
Isn't that so true? Yeah, we're always like, or like, what a good deal I got. Let me tell you about this,
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, such a good reminder. All right, so we have values. The second thing you want to do is I call it the circle exercise. So literally take a piece of paper or get out your computer and draw a circle. And then inside the circle, you want to put all the things that you want. And it can be anything from material things to feelings to experiences, like you name it, whatever's coming up, go ahead and write it in that circle. And on the outside, you want to capture all the things that you do not want. And you can do this for, kind of just in general life, or you can get really specific about it. You can say, and I did this the other day, just for this month, for example, or you could say for my career part of my life, or health, or relationship. So this can really be done in any capacity. It's something you make it yours. So one thing just to share, one quick one I just did, and it was for this month. The words that I put in the middle were consistent movement, beach, pleasure, be here now. I want flow, family time, writing, passion. And then everything on the outside is stagnation, scarcity, I don't want to worry, rigidity. So it just kind of gives you an idea, a little flavor, a little taste of what that circle can look like.
I love a circle exercise. And I even find myself telling like friends of friends, oh, I think you could benefit from a circle exercise. This is what it is, and this is why you should do it. We have done these several times
Yeah.
throughout our friends' gatherings or whatever. And I find it so helpful because what you encourage people to do with the exercise is to get very specific. This is the key because sometimes when we dream big, I find myself doing this. I think big dream, but I don't think specific dream. I think, oh, I want love, but I don't, bleh, in what form, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want happiness, but what does happiness look like? And so I find that just the practice of being specific very valuable. It's also very valuable in an exercise because it has helped me realize that some of the things I really want just aren't for right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I really want a dog. I had a dog growing up. I feel like all the people I know have dogs. I want a dog. I want a big dog. And in putting a big dog that I can take with me everywhere, that I can really build a relationship with, that I can train, I realize that I don't have the life set up to create the lifestyle for a dog that I want to give it. I'm back and forth from the US a couple times a year. I stay for weeks sometime. It just doesn't sit right with me to board a dog for that long, and I can't, in good faith, bring a dog back and forth transatlantic. That
Yeah.
feels cruel. So I know it's just not, it's not a goal for me right now.
Yeah. It's not like a no never. It's just for this lifestyle, this time right now. So you put that on a shelf, right?
Yeah.
It's one you can revisit later.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I love that.
The converse of that and saying no, not now is that, oh, yes, I also want a husband and I want children. And you help me get very specific on what I want in a husband. I feel like a lot of time now you hear people say, I have manifested my perfect partner,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice. I think there is a cosmic balance to the world, and you can put good things out and good things will return to you. But I think this idea of manifesting sort of doesn't give credit to the hard work that goes in to the things that you want. Because if you manifest, you want to be a successful entrepreneur, well, you've done a lot of hard work to get there. It's 1,000 little decisions, maybe 1,000 sacrifices that you made along the way in order to get there. And I feel like, yes, we can all receive the good karma coming to us, but let's also be realistic about the fact that we work really hard for these things.
Mm-hmm.
So now for me, this circle, I have a little family, a husband, partner written down in there. And I'm very specific about the type of partner that I want. Someone who's loving, someone who is conscientious, someone who approaches the world glass half full, someone who's sort of willing to see the world through the eyes of a child with this wonder about newness and just experience. That's very important to me. And so I want that reflected in a partner.
I love that. And what you talked about, yeah, with me working with you, getting more specific, I will say so much of that was going back to the innate wisdom of your body. So when you say these words, making sure you come back to kind of get a sense of like, how does that resonate? Is it like the tingly, like sensation of excitement and even like heart beating fast, but like in a good way? Is it a full body yes, as I would say? Or is it like, there's certain goals that just sound really good, but that just really doesn't resonate. It's really a no. And so getting clear on that why and getting as specific as possible is really important.
This topic came up in conversation just a few days ago around, I could do this, but is it what I want? If it's not what you want, it's not worth spending time thinking about. It's not spending valuable energy, valuable time thinking about creating a goal for something that doesn't light you up inside.
Yeah. And then I think in that examining is, am I doing this for someone else? Is this an old version of me? Is this because it looks good and I think, the ego is really driving it? I'm going to get some cool accolades. Yeah, those are all the goals I let go. The ones that I said I was going to run like a half marathon, the one that I said I was going to go to grad school, I would get my MBA. Those were all looking good. Those all sounded very prestigious and really awesome when I shared it. But like my body was like, no, thank you.
It's one of the things that age gives you perspective on is when you're doing things for other people or doing things not in the right vein. I think about some of the okay, I feel like this is also becoming sort of a podcast. Let's talk about Callie's relationship status. But I guess it's top of mind for me in many days. I think about these really nice guys that in my younger days, I didn't give a chance to because they didn't fit what I thought I wanted. I had this very sort of rigid idea of what a partner would be. And I think there are many women in the world who are like me that now think most of those things were not important. Now I just want someone who's nice, who does what he says he will do, who is willing to support me when I need support, and who will accept my support when I know I need to give it to him.
Absolutely, Callie. I think that you're right. Perspective is everything. It's easy, right, in this moment in time to look back and to kind of dissect it and to analyze it. But of course, like when you're in it, you're not always aware of it. So yeah, really real example. Thanks for sharing. I would also say about the circle exercise, which is a kind of a cool thing to do is, like I said, you could do it for all areas of your life. Do it, step away from it, come back to it a few different days. And you might start to kind of just see things a little bit differently. Maybe cross something out, maybe you add something. But I think the more that you kind of, that process of coming in and stepping away, it's not a linear process. You start to kind of get to the core root of it, what really is most important, what you really do want to call in, and what you do want to kind of set out to sail, if you will. Okay, so we have our values, then we have the circle exercise. And then the next thing you want to do is have a visualization of a point in time. And ideally, you're working with a point that's really far out, somewhere like 5 to 10 years. And I know you might be thinking, what, 5 to 10 years? I have no idea. But that's the point, because usually we can get caught as humans in the scarcity mindset of there's not enough time. I don't have enough money. We want to get the brain in a more relaxed state, in the state that it could really dream big, in a place that really you are more embodied and it really is calling forward the things that really matter to you. So, for example, a point in time, if we want to go back to, using relationship, like you said, Callie, it could be 10 years down the road, my husband and I are celebrating X anniversary and we're in this country walking down, by the water and, and really bringing out as much details as you could possibly imagine. I am wearing a long flowing green dress. I mean, I know you're smiling over here laughing at me, but like those details you can, because we are giving the brain this positive, really like picture, this map of where you want to go. And you'll be surprised. I've seen stuff how it's, unpacked. I knew before I met my husband, and this was in 2010 when I was doing this work. I had gotten really clear at this time. I was still in the corporate world, but I was like, I'm going to be working as much as I want, wherever I want. And I'll be living in a foreign country. And I don't think, and I did say husband. And this is the thing, I said partner for the longest time because I didn't know if I wanted to be married. And if I'm really honest with myself, it's because I was scared to say it. Because I think marriage for me wasn't holding a lot of positive energy. And so it's really interesting to see that like, oh my God. Okay, it happened. I am like, working for myself. And again, like you said, back to the whole like manifesting. And I have had people say that, and it's same for me. I'm like, ugh, I get this love-hate relationship because part of it is like, yeah, I did. There was energy I put out. There was, visualization, but there was a whole lot of things I did, choices I made, things I said yes, things I said no to. But it was because I had the picture and I was in alignment with my body that it just was leading me through every decision I was making was lining me up.
You said it earlier, it's a roadmap.
Yes.
I think we talk a lot about the end goal and like, oh, you've made it, you've done this, but no one ever asked, okay, well, how did you get there? Give me the detail. Show me the route that you took.
Mm-hmm.
And having values, doing a circle exercise, doing the visualization to see where you want to end up, all of that gives you a pretty strong guide of how to get there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so you have your values, you have your circle exercise, and then you have your vision. So now what you want to do is you want to work on the actual goals, is writing something that is going to stretch you. So it's not a checklist. This is an easy, I think, a thing sometimes people get caught up on, like, cool, like I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Well, if it's pretty much going to happen, it's just got to put a little more effort into it. It's not stretching you. No, it's not a real goal. It's a checklist.
It's like writing get out of bed on the top of your to-do list every day. Okay, to get my list, I have to get out of bed. So done. Yay for me.
Yeah. And like the dog thing, even too, you can joke about that, like just not right now, but like you can just go get a dog tomorrow if you wanted to. But there's a lot of thoughtfulness because you're like, want to line it up with your life, which is so important, your values.
We talk about intention.
Yes.
Like my intention is to do the very best in everything. Of course I could get a dog tomorrow. But I know through these exercises, it wouldn't be authentic to what I want.
Yeah, very true. So when you're writing goals, they want to make you feel like a full body yes, make you feel like you're stretched. You're almost like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that out loud. So getting clear, getting as specific as you possibly can and have it be bounded by a specific time. So like for me, one that right now I'm thinking of like, oh my God, when's this going to happen? How's this going to happen? Is it my husband and I have a home. The vision I have, it has like retreat vibes. There is multiple kind of like buildings, if you will, or like little home, a lot of land. We are definitely raising some of our own food. It's a place that friends can come. It's also a place where we can host events or we can actually encourage individuals that are creatives and artists to come as a bit of a refuge and as a place to create their art. And we want to do that by 2030. And so I'm not really, I have some ideas, but I'm not as clear or specific right now about where it is. I think it's in Europe, I think for sure. But yeah, that's one that's really stretching me. And I'm kind of like, how in the world? But no, it's not about the how, it's about the what, and the details will work themselves out.
I hear you talking about this. I've actually never heard you articulate it this way. I see it.
I do too.
You see it clearly, enables me to see it clearly. I really love that. And it's so authentic to who you are. It's authentic to who both of you are. Again, to the intentionality of it. It feels thought out. You've done the work of building the image. It's like no architect would build a building without blueprints. They would never build something without a plan. Why do we think life is any different?
Oh, you give me full body yes and chills right now.
Why do we think life is any different?
Yeah.
It's a blueprint. That's all it is. Some people get turned off by the ideas of goals and values and a vision, but okay, it's a blueprint.
Yeah.
Everything needs a blueprint.
And it's also reminding me, I don't know who said it, something I saw on the internet. It says that dreams come in a size too big so that we may grow into them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it is, I think about, the time in life, right? Perhaps it's like more important to be more grounded than being out and about and to foster and mentor creativity for other people in the world. And it was really cool because I think back like actually it was during the pandemic. If I remember, we stayed at this Airbnb and it was actually on a part of land that was where these other people had a main home and we were kind of in this little like small home. And it just had so many of those vibes. And so even like being in the place we were, like an inspiration, we did have a picture of what it could look like. And of course it had like kind of very like Spanish vibes, kind of red tile roof and like just lush green. And I was like, oh, so here for all of this.
One thing that I think having a solid blueprint, because that's where I'm going from this moment on, a blueprint. One thing a blueprint provides you is a clear path and a clear understanding of where you need to work now in order to get to where you want to be. I'm thinking back to this. Okay, I'm getting a little sweaty now because this is not necessarily a topic I thought I wanted to share on a podcast, but here we are. Last year for a few months, I was seeing a therapist that I found online. She was really great. She's like British American. We had a lot of commonalities. So we had a lot of frames of reference when we would speak. She was great because she would let me talk the whole 50 minutes. She would sort of give me a prompt, ask me a few guiding questions along the way. But she recognized that I was able to sort of cycle through my own thoughts if I just had the space to hold them. And in talking about relationship and talking about the life that I wanted and talking about where I wanted to be, one of the things she said to me scared me to death because it is this sort of thing that I recognized was somewhere in me that I didn't want to articulate. And what she said was, when it comes to relationship, you play it safe. You play it safe. And I hate that because I feel my life to live authentically. I am so confident in every other area.
It's okay. Just take a moment.
To play it safe feels like the antithesis of who I am. And I want to confront this within myself. So if I think about my blueprint in life, I know this is one area where I have to do some really hard work.
It needs some like TLC and some, we go back to the garden, analogy, some watering and also some time, right? To the fertilizing and yeah.
I think there's this idea that like what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
I think we've said this before. It's true. It's true.
I think someone one time said this one thing. And when I think about sort of activating what my therapist was talking about and sort of going after people or putting myself in situations that really stretch me in this way from a partnership perspective, like what's the worst that could happen? It's like, I'm so unafraid of rejection in almost every area of my life. It's like when you grow up in a place that encourages you to dream big, failure is in your mind, but it's never something that stops you. And in this area, I feel paralyzed. But if we talk about like karmic goodness and the things that you put out that coming back to you.
Yeah.
I can think of maybe 3 times already this year where I know there is something larger at play. Oddly enough, last night, I was at IKEA with some friends. And we're shopping, and we're like an hour or 2 of shopping. And all of a sudden I see this man who I have been on an airplane with twice. And like, if I don't believe in coincidence, I do not believe in coincidence. So I was telling my friends this, and they're like, you have to go speak to him. I mean, we sat close enough on the airplane for me to hear his voice, to see what book he was reading. Greek, handsome, tall, reading a psychology book. Well, if I give too much detail and he ever hears this, no, I'm just kidding. But I don't know, like all the markers of someone that I feel like would potentially be well matched to me. And I see him in IKEA. I told my friends I had seen this man twice. And they're like, you have to go speak to him. You have to go say something. And I didn't. I basically followed him around IKEA for 15 more minutes and didn't say a thing. Didn't say a thing to him. And I recognize, after having this conversation this morning, I recognize this was one of those opportunities. I already know where I need the work, and I'm still too scared to do it. So having a blueprint is great, and it is empowering, but there are also going to be moments where you have to grow.
Yeah.
And you have to be willing to do some hard work in order to make this vision and this life happen.
Yeah. But as your friend who is intimately involved in your life, I have to reflect back to you. I hope that you do see that you are on the apps and you are putting yourself out there. It's one thing to say that I want this husband and then to complain, do nothing. And yeah, sure. Have you been through a bunch of first dates that have been really great stories for me to listen to?
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
But you know what I mean? You're not, though, being knocked. I mean, it's exhausting. Absolutely. I get it. But you're not letting that stop you. And I know that you're also not like relying on that being the only way to meet someone. And of course, like it can be intimidating to approach. So I get it. And so I just give yourself some credit for sure. But it's definitely a moment where you are in the work.
Yeah. And it's another thing too, because I think the more I tell people this story, I mean, I don't really like deeply divulge the intimate details of my therapy sessions with most friends. It's just not, we talked about this and that and then it's fine. But I think the more that I tell this to people, I think I'll find more support in this.
Yes.
It won't be such a thing of like, you have to go speak to him. It won't, I don't know, maybe it won't be so frightening.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe taking that step at some point doesn't paralyze me.
Yeah. It's making me think back to, and I did put it as a goal of wanting to find that partner that eventually I put the word husband on. At first I was like, I don't know if I want to say husband, all that stuff. So, I mean, that's what it does. It gets you to confront these things and to get clear, like on what is the why and like, well, why do I believe that? What is underneath that? And I could share personally, it's just so much of loving myself led me to the big love and doing all the things that you love, because that's going to continue to fill up your cup. It's going to make you shine. It is going to make you ready for when you do meet that one that it's meant to be. Thank you so much, Callie, for your vulnerability. And this is why, too, I just love having you as my friend. I think the older I get and the more experiences I have, the less I am interested in about talking about the weather. It is about like really getting into all facets of life, the beautiful stuff, the messy stuff. That's just what it is.
Small talk for me is death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's just the surface. And I think we share this as being Aquarii. The surface conversation is like a slow death. I want to get deep. I want to get really into like the parts of people that they don't want to share. I want to stick my finger right there. And I want to say, but why? But why?
Tell me about your goals. What are you up to these days? Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this. Let's just shine a little light.
Let's just be human. It's our humanitarian part of our sign.
You do this to me, which is so great. It's so great to have someone do it back to you. And we have several friends that I think operate in the same vein.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Really also maybe highlights how having an accountability partner when you're talking about dreams and goals is very helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. A support system for sure. So to kind of land us here in today's episode, I want to remind you all of what you have. We have getting clear on your values, right? 3 to 5 things that are like the essence of who you are. If you have a roadblock on getting started with that, strike up a conversation with your friends, somebody that has your best interest at heart to help you get there. The second thing is a circle exercise. So drawing a circle, getting clear on all the things you really want and maybe just life in general, or you could pick a specific area of your life. Adding in material things, feelings, experiences, as much details as you can imagine. And on the outside, all the things that you do not want of your circle. The third thing is having a vision. So letting your mind dream big, get somewhere out 5, 10 years down the road so you're not in the constraint mode of time and money. And then once you have that picture, then working backwards, getting specific and measurable about goals. So you can kind of, work back 5 years, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will also be leading you through a visualization exercise in one of our Glimmer episodes. And I just want to encourage you, again, come back to this episode time and time again to work on your values, visions, getting clear on what you want to work towards and those measurable goals.
Thanks for joining us today on Biscuits and Sunshine. Remember, it's okay if goals and dreams change, because sometimes you have to let things go in order to let things grow. We want to give a huge thanks to our team of supporters who are here beside us day in and day out, cheering us on. And of course, we would not be here without you. If you're listening to us on Spotify, make sure to fill out the survey questions associated with this episode. We would love to hear your feedback.
In the words of Eleanor Roosevelt, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. In our next episode, we'll talk about the lessons we've learned from creativity.
If you love what we're serving up, be sure to subscribe and rate us on your favorite streaming platform. Also, head over to Instagram and give us a follow. You'll find us at Biscuits and Sunshine, all spelled out. This is Biscuits and Sunshine with Callie and Landra.